Hey, I'm Will Martin. If there's a serious issue going on in public health, do you think you'd hear about it now? I mean, during the pandemic, when things were really ramping up and getting started, it seemed like everybody, every politician, everybody who was a pseudo expert was getting the word out and giving you their opinion as to what we should and shouldn't be doing. And now everyone seems to be pretty silent on the matter. And a part of that is because COVID really isn't as prevalent as it was, obviously. But we're seeing excess mortality that is way above the baseline, way above average, and no one is really giving a good explanation as to why. There's some explanations that are being posed, but none of them are proven, and quite frankly, some of them really don't make a whole lot of sense at all. But I want to share this graph with you. I'll make this quick. There are people on the internet that are certainly, really, really articulate and good at explaining this. I just want to get it out there so that in case you haven't heard of this, this is one more opportunity to get the word out as to just what the heck is going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm actually going to make this graph bigger so that you can see it. So this is excess mortality, deaths from all causes, and it's going from January of 2020 through June 18th of this year. Now you can see spikes during the relative, COVID waves, but if you look at the 0% line, that should be the average. That should be the expected number of deaths. And this is averaged over several years. So, of course, some years there's going to be more deaths than others, but when you average it out, it should be right about at that 0%. And occasionally it dipped down below, but most of the time has been spent above. And there has been some spikes, that has been almost off the chart at the very beginning with the Wuhan strain. At the very beginning, it was off the chart. But the thing is, we're not really seeing high rates of COVID infection right now, and the COVID infection we're seeing is pretty mild. I've had a couple of COVID positive patients here recently, but it's been just incidental findings, and typically very, very mild symptoms. Not something that necessarily is causing a lot of mortality. So the question is, why is mortality still above the average at this point in time? Now, at the very beginning of COVID, we had people that weren't coming to the ER, so there probably were a lot of strokes and heart attacks that occurred that weren't necessarily reported. There were a lot of people that were not seeking care. There was a lot of delayed care. There was delayed surgeries, delayed interventions with cancer. I mean, you name it. And and that might account for some of the uh, increased mortality subsequent to that. But we've been outside of this pandemic window long enough that you would have expected that things would have smoothed out. The other point that I want to make is if you took a group of people, let's say elderly people, for example, who maybe in a normal situation might have lived an extra year or two, but because COVID came along, it just kind of gave them an extra nudge, and made them pass away maybe a little bit sooner than they would have otherwise. And if that's true, and I think that that's true, I think in the beginning that's kind of what we were all being told is that we were seeing an increase in deaths among our elderly. Well, those folks are gone now. So wouldn't you see, first of all, an increase in excess mortality initially, but then we should actually see a real significant decrease because those people are gone. They're not there to die now. So why are we still seeing an increase? I don't think I don't think anyone has reported a really good answer. There has been some answers put out that maybe it's related to COVID-19 still, which I don't think that's the case. Other people have said that it might be due to a lot of pressure put upon the healthcare system. I mean, there's always pressure on the healthcare system, but not to the point where you're going to see an average of 500 people dying weekly above average. This is what's reported in the UK. and other things that they try to throw out there. Um, things like people are not taking care of themselves like they used to, and they're delaying care, and that may be true. The thing is, it hasn't been proven, it hasn't been studied, it's not being talked about. It's not being talked about by our public health officials, and you have to wonder, why is that? I mean, do they know something that we don't know? I don't know. I mean, I'm not trying to be some conspiracist, but it just makes you wonder just what exactly is the cause for such a prolonged number of excess deaths at this point in time in summer of 2023. I'd like to hear what you think. Leave your thoughts down in the comments, and we'll get back around to this again here soon. Okay? Hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.